Greetings, YouTube. It's hard to imagine that this is the case, but it's already been almost a week since, well, I took down my units to about 13,000 and change for that 6-star Nexus to celebrate the 50,000 subscriber milestone on my channel. It was a big deal that I don't regret, and the community had a big vote in really figuring out how I should go about that purchase, because it was a C plus value. You know, it was slightly better than above average, which rarely do I purchase things that I rate at a C plus. Usually it takes a B or higher. But, you know, when you get to celebrate, it's only 50,000 subs once, so you might as well go for it. So because of that, I have been saving up not 1, but 2 million battle chips to try to get back maybe at least half of those units and see what we can do. So if you're watching this and you're not fast forwarding just to see what the result is, the classic hardcore 6% Prof Hoff loyalist, I appreciate you. My goal is going to be, at minimum, 3,000 units, but really the dream is as close to 4,000 units as possible. So, of course, I'm doing this in real time, speaking into my travel microphone. I haven't got to the end of this video. It's like I'm going back and cheating by recording a voiceover over a video I've already watched or recorded. So I'm going to say my prediction is 3,725 units. Higher or lower, 3,725. You can say your guess out loud. You can pause the video if you want to take part in this. But we're about to fast pop all these 1,000 crystals. So let me know what your thoughts are. 3,725 is what I'm guessing I'll get. That's an incredible start. Holy cow. That is an amazing start. Do you think I'll get the 4-star Punisher as well from this? We'll see. It's starting out great. Normally that means I hit a wall just like there, where, you know, you get 135 units and then you get 0 units. But as we continue to fast pop these, really the goal is, nice energy refill, is as close to 4,000 units as possible, though I've only reached the threshold of getting an average of 1,000 units per 500,000 battle chips once this year, and it was right before my Abyss completion run. So it was a great time to have the best luck I've had all year in Arena Crystals. But in general, it's been paying out. What used to have the hope of 1,000 units per 500,000 battle chips, it's been more around 700 units per 500,000 battle chips. So I'm hoping that doesn't mean that I get 2,800 units for this. I know there are a lot of people out there who say 2,800 units. That's almost $100 worth of units. I'd be very happy with 2,800 units. Well, I get that, but again, you've got to think about the data and what the expectations for units typically are in this kind of batch opening, what's considered a great opening versus an average opening versus a terrible opening. Great is anything at or above 4,000 units. Average is around 3,500 and above, and terrible is anything below 3,500, especially if it's hovering around that 3,000 unit milestone, which again, I get 3,000 units, $100. Weird to say terrible, but it is the math involved. Okay, so still no Punishers, which is quite surprising. Maybe they finally fixed that visual bug where suddenly you were getting like 60 energy refills claimed, which obviously was not the case. This has been a pretty dang disappointing stretch, but at the same time, we're almost at the 1,000 goal at 250 in. So that's a good way to look at it too, is when we get down to 500, we want to be at 2,000 units, right? That's the ultimate bar. Isn't it crazy too that I've opened 0 Punishers even as 3 stars? That might be the longest I've ever gone without that, but besides ISO, it's not going to do me any good. So it's not like I'm sitting over here depressed because there's no 3-star Punishers. It's just been a very basic opening. A lot of gold. All right, 150 left, and we are not doing great on units. This batch of 250 is really one of the worst batches I've ever opened. And that's saying something because these are the basic battle chip crystals, the regular ones, the 2K ones, which are supposed to be safer, you know? So I've just stuck on 1125 or 1155. It's crazy. I mean, this is finally. That was so ugly. So ugly. We had a solid, not amazing, but a solid first 250, but the second 250 has just been about as ugly as you can get. Now we're just hoping to get to 1,500 units by the time that we get halfway through this opening, and that is not where you want to be when you open battle chip crystals, because that means we're 500 units behind, which is a good chunk of units to be behind, and we'll really need to make it up in the back half, as Mama Bear likes to say. And remember, the first 10 crystals we opened, the first 20,000 battle chips had 135 units. And so we started off with a bang, but then have had a whimper in the past 250 crystals. So remember, our goal was 2,000 at 500. We'll see if we even make it to 1,600 before this batch of 10. We were not there. And that is always discouraging, and we are not at 1,600. So we are over 400 units behind our standard goal. And if you were to do the math, that means we're on pace to get about 3,200 units, or right above $100 worth of quote-unquote free units. I say the word free in a sarcastic sense because all of that time I spend grinding in the arena is certainly still time grinding in it. It's not like these crystals just magically appeared. I have to grind my soul away from my body every time I do the arena. So I get that. I get that indeed. I also get that whenever you pop batches of 10, you are at the mercy of the server, which certainly is not something any one of us has control over, but thankfully it got to that next batch of 10, and we can continue to move on. I will be beyond bummed if I don't get at least 3,000 units. I thought that would be a quote-unquote guarantee, but I've been wrong before. Let's see if we can get over 2,000 in this batch of 10. Still no, we're 5 away. Maybe this will get us to that 2,000 mark. There we go, 2,100. Now, unfortunately, that is just what we were hoping our halfway point was going to be, and obviously that was not close to that. So now you're just seeing small little increments of units, up 30, up 60, still better than up 0. But really, you want to strike it rich with these, how I started it out. You want to see your units climb by at least 90 to 120, maybe 135 when you pop the first 10. It's also worth noting we've got 90 units worth of energy refills, which I kind of do count as units, even though after peak milestones were introduced into the game, it became relatively easy to get energy refills, because for a long time, those things were just like impossible to get. So kind of crazy, kind of cool. One of my favorite things Kabam has done. But at the same time, it has given everybody, I think, more of a chance to have an overflow of energy refills instead of struggling. There's our first 3-star Punisher. 700 crystals to get a 3-star Punisher. I almost feel like the title of this video should be, did Punisher get removed from the crystals? Because that's, like, drop rate wise, to open 700 and get 1 3-star Punisher, it's just crazy. It's not like Punisher's OP either. Talk about a champion that I don't know anybody that uses. Like, literally nobody. He used to be kind of a decent defender, but I don't know anybody that's told me in a long time that they use their Punisher on defense. Maybe there's somebody watching this that's like, hey, Prof, I do. Well, put in the comments, and I'll at least know that somebody does. But if you don't use him on offense, you don't use him on defense, he's basically just an arena champ, which, to be fair, most champs are in this stage of the game, but it just makes you wonder why Punishers are still so rare to get in these arena crystals. All right, we are 210 away from my absolute bare minimum 1,000 units short of a good opening hide the bleach status. So that is not by any means a minimum goal in terms of what I was hoping for, but when you get down to below 200 crystals, when you're over 80% of the opening completed and you still haven't reached that 3,000 mark, you've just got to kind of shrug your shoulders and say, all right, Kabam, well, 3,000 units, obviously that's at least half of the units I spent on the Nexus Crystal back, so that's better than nothing, and we should definitely get there in the next 130. And there we go. We're above 3,000. Okay, so remember, our ideal goal was 4,000. I said what sounds now to be quite optimistic, that I'd get 3,700 units. We've got 100 of these to go, and we are short of that, though we're making a little bit of a comeback. We are actually already at the math of the first 500, which was about 1.6K units. So we had a better back half. Mama Bear would smile and say, "Of course you did. It's the back half. It's always better in the back half." Will we get to 3,400? I mean, that's not a major L. It's still an L, but it's better than that first 500 was looking, because that second 250 just ruined us. Without that second 250, I think we would have got to 4,000 units, but you just got to play the RNG Marvel Casino of Champions game. All right, last 10. 3,600. Okay, I was only off by 125 units. That last batch was really good, and I think a lot of people are going to probably point to the gold as also something to celebrate. If you add up the units, assuming the energy refills aren't bugged, that's 3,750 worth of either units or unit-based items, but only 2 3-star Punishers, right? Or was it just 1? Either way, Punisher has been taken out of these crystals. Unbelievable. Well, YouTube, I hope that somebody was close in their prediction of 3,600 units. I appreciate you walking with me through this journey back up to 18,000 units. So, hey, I didn't get the full 6,000 units back. That would be almost impossible. But, hey, over half of the units I spent. That's why I grind in the arena, or at least that's what I tell myself when I can't sleep late at night.